We'd like to sincerely thank our Patreon supporters. Hey, what's up, everybody? It's a beautiful foggy morning, and we are in Stuart, Florida, and we're going snook fishing. All right, so today's, I think there's like an 85% chance of rain, so I got my rain gear with me. Usually when the conditions are at their worst for people, they're their best for fishing. So one, there's not going to be anyone else out here spooking the fish, fishing areas before me. It's probably going to be wide open for me to fish just about anywhere I want. And if it does rain, it stops. It usually puts just a perfect slick glass-like surface on the water where any small movement from a bait, I'm fishing artificials today that look like finger mullet. That's actually an old one that's been on the rod for a while, but it'll still work. I have a whole bunch of new ones in the thing. In fact, that's the only bait I'm using today. A small version and a large version of that. And I'll see if the fish are hitting fast or slow. I use the same hook on both size baits, and if the fish are slow because of, say, they're feeding at night a lot, or they're cold or something like that, I'll switch to the smaller one because it sinks a little bit lower in the water and works good slow. But if there's fast reaction strikes, which is to me the most fun, I can use the bigger bait and just rip it in. And what I'll do is I'll fish, and you guys will see, if the current is coming in, I will fish on the side of the dock. The fish will be underneath docks, facing into the current, waiting for the conveyor belt of food to come to them. So I'll position my kayak on that side of the dock and make a long cast and put that bait right up along the pilings. Perfect place for a snook just to blow up on it. Then you have to get him out and away from that dock. These aren't small fish before they break you off. So it gets pretty exciting in a little kayak. We're gonna get fishing in a second here. Is it filming? It's filming. Sorry about that. All right. This is a very small example of what we're fishing for. Keeper has to be between 28 and 32 inches. We'll get this little guy back in the water ASAP. That little guy ate that big old bait. Wasn't worth filming the hit or the fight of that. But, I mean, it would be more fun on lighter tackle. But like I said, we should catch 36 and 38 inch fish today. So we'll see. It's been a little slow so far. All right. Another smaller one. Get it back in the water. I see one ahead of us on the seawall. If we can get to him quietly. Got a limbo under the dock. He's still there. Ah, it spooked him. Let's see if we can find another. It's fun when you can sight them. Smells are good. Some big jack around. I need the bigger bait for the jack. Oh, there goes a jack. There's a nice snook. Keep them on, it might be a keeper. It might be just short, let's see. It would be perfect if we could keep them on. I got a buddy's birthday party to go to tomorrow night. Oh, there is a big jack underneath him, waiting for him to cough up any bait. Oh, look at that jack. He's trying to hit that bait out of his mouth. Alright, that's a better size snook. Turn on our other camera. Get a tape measure on him. It's close. I'm gonna pull him forward and get a better measure on him. If you guys can see that, he's 28.5. So now we have a keeper. Let me get you guys on a picture so you can actually see. That's a 28.5 inch snook. I think it's like 10 in the morning, so it took us a couple hours to get to it, but I think he's his third fish we caught. So I'm gonna get him on some ice in a fish bag and put him on the back, and we're gonna keep fishing for a little bit. Show you guys the bait that he literally turned inside out. This is what the bait's supposed to look like, and it's actually twisted inside out. That's the suction power that they have when they hit. It's crazy. Oh, there's a big snook there. Yeah. Well, not as big as I thought. I hooked him. the part I always try to tell people about is, oh look, there's another big one on the wall right there. Even though I'm using somewhat light tackle, I'm using a very heavy line and I'm fishing with my drag tight. You could enjoy more of a fight with this fish, but you could also, oof, look at that, see the jack is hitting him right there. So that would be another slot snook. I bet you that one's 28 inches as well. Unhooked. We'll go for a picture. Actually, we'll go for video. Here we go. All right, another nice snook. Get back in the water. If you don't keep them out of the water long, it doesn't take long to revive them. Used to be a nice group of mangroves here, but looks like someone new moved in and killed them, of course. It's supposed to be a protected tree. It's not protected from rich people. They can do whatever they want, apparently. Oh. Oh. Well, that was the wrong spot to hook that big jack. I had to try and slow him down or he would have had us in that dock. Bad timing. He doesn't even know he's hooked yet. That jack does not even know he's hooked yet. That is a big jack. You better get away, you monitor food. Ah, dang it. He got us on that piling. Oh my gosh, we just got him out. Oh, he's got a nice gash on him. That's why he's not fighting that hard. He's got an injury. Oh, you guys are gonna like this one. Now this longer rod helps you to guide your bait along the seawall or the dock, but it's a lot more leverage when you're fighting something big. So this jack is more like it's gonna look a lot more like an ocean fish. And they do run the beaches and reefs and stuff like that, but they do a lot of feeding in the estuaries, especially the juveniles. But when there's a mullet run, which is the fall, winter for Florida, there's a specific time that everyone calls the run, but the population definitely bumps up those couple months. Even though the run is when they're specifically just running the beach, but this whole season, the bigger jacks will come in the river to feed on the abundance of mullet. He's a big fish. Too big for Blackbeard to eat. Put it back forward. Don't want to get close to that other dock. Gotta keep him away from the dock. So this is probably about the size of the other one we hooked and tried to stop at that dock. You know, the drag is set so the line doesn't break, but what I did was grab the spool and not let any drag out and tried to stop it from going in the dock, which in turn broke the line. Whew. A big snook can fight this hard, but there's going to be a lot more jumping and stuff like that. Definitely hooked some big snook that is getting close. Starting to do his circles. Can't tell what it is, but it looked like maybe a small shark underneath them. There's also more sharks this time of year. Woo! Almost. Come on, buddy. If it wasn't for that injury, he'd have a lot more fight in him. Now, different people have different opinions, the food value of this fish. I personally don't eat them, but there's definitely people that do. Also watching for that shark that was underneath him. I don't see it right now, but come on. Hopefully you guys are seeing that. That's a big jack, every bit a 30-pounder. Get away from this dock. Oh, perfect. I thought this camera was filming the whole time, but of course it wasn't. There's your shot of the fish I just got. He's 30-pound jack. Don't want to wash my hand too much. So we're gonna save him for monitor food. So should be good. You can hear him grunting. That's a powerful fish. All right, I'm gonna get him underneath that other fish bag, and I think we may just cross and head back and make the rest of this video feeding. Oh, holy smokes. Well, we lost a nice one, and he threw our bait up in the tree. Don't usually lose a lot. It all depends on how they're eating them on any particular day. Some days they eat harder than others, and that fish ate pretty good. Look at that, another snook. Not that big, but pretty strong. Well, he's a slot fish. Ooh, I think it's maybe a higher oxygen level over here or something. Oof. That one. Wow. There you go, guys. That's a fatty. Pretty fish. Right back in the water. That's one big fish and a slot all in the same spot. Pretty wild. That's another jack. Tell by the way he's fighting. Obviously not as big as that other one. Or hopefully not as big as that other one. We don't need another monster like that. Wow. Yeah, that's a better size. Some monitor food. Perfect. Stop playing the drums. You're scaring the fish. Oof. Almost got out. We are working our way back to the dock, so if we can get 1 or 2 more of those, that would be nice. Put some fish in the freezer. A lot of pelicans there, so I assume there's more than one jack running in this area. Usually it's some of those big ones. Oh, nice snook. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That was nice. That might be another dang slot fish. Oh, perfect. Perfect, perfect. I don't need to bring them all the way in. Let's circle out so we don't ruin that wall. Fix our bait. Now fishing with that heavy of a tackle, it does allow some fish to get off because the rod's not bending and keeping the tension right. And I mean, you see the size of the hook. It can make a gap in their mouth. They have like a lot of soft, fleshy parts. The snook's mouth isn't real hard like that, so it can make a hole pretty quick for the hook to work its way out. If we weren't using such heavy leader, we would have to tie a new leader on, but that leader is fine. If you were fishing slow, you wouldn't be able to get away with such heavy leader, but because I'm fishing so fast, I'll show you guys later why the speed works. Something very particular to that one fish, why I try to do reaction strikes. To get that many slot fish in a day, like a lot of people can't do that, but this type of fishing really focuses just on those. It's only a 4-inch slot. Let's try that again. Still filming? Still filming. I hope this camera is catching this stuff. God. Oh, that's a bigger jack. But we have the space, so I'll let them fight. now. Oh, if he makes a run, he's gonna get it. All right, so I'm gonna free spool it, and we're going under that dock. Hopefully. Otherwise he would have broke off. Let's see if we have him still. There we go. That was better than breaking that fish off. Guy's in between those two. Big boat waves right here. So all these big boats that are going by are using the St. Lucie River to head west or east. The river goes all the way to Lake Okeechobee, and then they can cross Lake Okeechobee and what's the name of the waterway on the other side? You can cross the state, so you can split instead of having to go all the way around the state of Florida. A lot of people will come bring their boats down the Mississippi, around the Panhandle on the Gulf Coast of Florida, and then shoot across the state to get to their homes in like Fort Lauderdale and Miami and stuff. So that's what all these big boats are doing. So I've been getting hit with big boat waves steady the whole time I've been fishing. All right, so we're working our way back to the dock, but I wanted you guys to see, you know, it's higher tide, so now we've got the greener water. The ocean water is in the river, although it's super cloudy today because of all the wind. So the waves on the beach churn up the ocean water along the shoreline and just make it a cloudy, like green blue. And then of course that comes into the river system at high tide, but it's still pretty. And they've got some natural islands. I think some of the islands you can camp on or dock your boat up at night and stuff. I like camping on the islands further north of here where you don't see all the houses and whatnot, but I mean there's just massive houses along this waterway. Yeah, I know some people said like, wow, like what do you do for a living? Like I'm the poor people in this area. I'm watching, there's an airport just west of here, and there's just Lear jets one after another coming in and landing. There's a lot of money in this area. I mean the entire coast of Florida, really. I just fish behind their houses. I get to enjoy the same water. So I think I have one more seawall to fish, and we're gonna get back to the house. Maybe we can play with the baby white throats and the Dumerles monitors as I limbo under that dock. And then we can clean that fish. I'm gonna eat half of that with my parents, and then the other half I'm gonna give to my buddy David Straight for his birthday tomorrow night. Snook is not commercially sold, so you can only catch it on your own. I think there's an African snook that's farmed, but I don't know that it's the same fish or not. And I'll tell you more about that fish again when I'm cleaning it. But I just wanted you guys to see maybe a better view of where I'm at and where I'm fishing, instead of just that one camera that was strapped to my chest. I mean, look at the size of that boat. Crazy stuff out here. Hey guys, we have our snook on the cleaning table. So this is one of the things I wanted to explain to you guys on the kayak, of why they can spook so easy. Every fish has a lateral line, and that line down the side, say it was nighttime, how does it sense its prey at night? It can't always see it, or muddy water. This lateral line senses vibrations or movement in the water. What it will also sense is your noise in your boat, footsteps in a boat. It'll sense your fishing line if it's too thick, your leader line, your lure if it's working wrong. So their sensitivity is what makes it so difficult to catch, and their lateral line so prominent. It's a literal black line down the side of them. There are a couple other fish like cod also have a very prominent lateral line because they feed at such depths. So they spook easy. So a lot of people have to work really hard, fish from a distance, or a lot of people use live bait to try and fool the snook, which definitely is easier. But if we would have pulled up to one of those spots and threw out a live bait, you know, a lot of those spots had one snook on them. So you'd have to set yourself up for one fish and hope more passed by. But what I find is a lot of these fish, they kind of stake out a spot and they sit there the whole tide. They're not moving. There are some fish that are moving. The jack are moving for sure. For me, this is one of the best eating fish, and not just because we have them readily available. It just has a different texture. It's not a mushy fish. It's almost steak-like or something. I don't know. But still juicy. Doesn't dry out easy. Oh, I love fried snook. I love it on the grill. Did I mess up starting that fillet? I think my fillet fillet knife could use some sharpening. What you guys didn't see also is I just bleached this whole table because we've been cutting up all that chicken on it for the monitors. This is not supposed to be where we do any of the food for the monitors, but it's where it's been so far. All right. Like I said, I'm gonna give my buddy David half this fish for his birthday. And if you know Snook, you know that's a good present. I'd rather it than a t-shirt. I have ice still in here, so that'll stay cold. This one is marginal. Let's see. I don't think we're gonna save the skin for the lizards, but I will save the rest of this carcass. This one, there's probably not gonna be much of a cheek, but there's a big difference between 28 and a 31. Snook at about at the 32-inch mark, right before it, they actually will turn into a female. So like this fish is a male. I can't guarantee that, but I've caught 31-inch fish that you could tell is a male, and ones that you could tell are females by they get a lot bigger all around. So that cheek meat is really good, and usually you can just peel the skin off of that. Let's see. Oh, another interesting fact, snook used to be called soap fish, because if you don't remove the skin from the fish, it will actually taste like a bar of ivory soap. So back in the day, when people didn't fillet fish as much, this was a junk fish. They were killed and discarded. They weren't considered a food fish at all. Now we've got these fancy flexible knives and we tenderloin fish. I don't know that you guys need to see the other side. I'm going to shut you guys off, and then we're going to cut up those jack for the monitors. All right, so these are the three fish, well, the three jack that we have. This behemoth. That's a big fish. There are certain parts that they're not going to eat, like that's maybe I let the parts fall where they may and then pick them up. It's not the knife, it's actually the table has bounce to it. I can't wait to use my table that I build instead of this. Then we have our snook carcass. Alright, so the stuff we're not feeding to the monitors we can throw in this bucket. I don't know if I want it to go in the pond. But as far as like, I mean, like that backbone with that meat, that stuff I'll feed them. Oh man, I hate this table. That's really just the table. If I move it to the corner, there's the spine on that. I mean, there's fish bones all through that stuff. You'll be surprised. I wonder if this table is going to allow me to. But like, you would think what's going to eat that, but the big monitors will gobble up. That other table, I can cut right through that stuff. This is going to be a pain. So I guess you guys basically see what I'm doing. I'm gonna try and find the right angle and right part of this table where this doesn't bounce. But I'm gonna cut these fish up. This part I'm probably gonna just cut maybe into thirds. That I probably won't use this guy's head, the big guy's head, because it's too much, but there is meat to clean out around it. I'll clean that around it and just trim the spine fins. I'm not going to feed to the monitors, and I'll just cut those off. But the rest, it's good to go. The rest I can process the day I feed them, because obviously the littles, the bigs, everyone, like that'll feed everyone in one day. That could be that plus some eggs could feed everybody, and then the snook carcass and this little jack could be another day. So good amount of food. They just ate yesterday, so we're not going to see him eat any fish, but we will play with the littles a little bit later. All right, so that ended up being pretty messy. But I have all that done. Like I said, even the snook's face, I mean, they'll eat all that. The head on the jack is like a massive skull, so I stripped all the meat I could off of it, so that's all the waste there. I'll probably take it to a pond where some soft shell turtles can pick at it. I don't have any in my pond, so I'll take it to a bridge where something can make use of it and it's not wasted. So I'm gonna get this bagged up, and I think we're gonna have to play with the littles tomorrow, because by the time I clean my kayak, we're not gonna have any sunlight.